Hello my friends, today we are gonna be building this beautiful movie website. So it's gonna be like that. We have featured movies here and here. And we have movies here, movie list. And when we hover them, it's gonna be some informations here. And we have beautiful slider. It's gonna be shift like that. And here we are gonna add some dark mode toggle, something like that. When we toggle this, it's gonna be white theme. And also this design will be 100% responsive. And I hope you will enjoy this. If you are ready, let's get started. Okay, firstly we have image folder here. And we have all these images which we'll use on the application. So you can find this folder and the other entire code in the description below. I'm gonna share them as a GitHub repo. So let's go to code editor and here my browser. Here is my folder. I'm gonna create an index file. Index.html. Okay. So I'm gonna create a style. Let's close this and also I will make this disappear. View. This one I think. Okay. I'm gonna create our first document. Then I'm gonna change this name. Movie design. Movie. I'm gonna add my style CSS here. Link. Style CSS. Let's write here something and check. Open with live server. Good. But it starts from here, as you can see. I don't want this margin. So I'm gonna come here and choose entire document and say margin 0. Right now it starts from 0 on the top and left. Okay. Before starting, I'm gonna add here something more. Let's come here and say Google Fonts. I'm gonna choose first Roboto. Let's choose these all straight ones. We are not gonna use all of these, but I just wanna choose in any case. But before, I wanna choose one more font family. I will write here San. And this one. It's gonna be our logo. So I'm gonna copy this link. And here. Let's delete this statistics. We don't need this. Okay. So all texts in the body will be Roboto. And for the logo, we are gonna be using this one. Let's create here a Navbar. Of course, you can use semantic HTML. You can write here navbar, header, footer, asides, or something like that, but I'm just gonna use these divs. And after, I'm gonna create a sidebar. I'm gonna choose this one. Okay. Navbar. It's gonna contain all the screen, so width 100%, and height will be 50 pixels, and background color black. Okay, and sidebar will be here. It was right here, sidebar, and right now it's gonna be width 50 pixels and height 100%. And background color black. I set here 100% so we can scroll this. I don't want to do that. I want this sidebar to start from top, and when I scroll all the context, it's gonna be fixed and it's gonna stick on the screen. So I will come here and say position, let's say fixed, and top 0. We can't see anything. I will write here something, let's say lorem. As you can see, I'm scrolling and this sidebar is always there. Okay, let's delete all of them. So I'm gonna create first a navbar container because I'm gonna use some paddings, margins, and I don't want any issue because of this navbar. So I will say here navbar container, and inside this it's gonna be logo, it will be here, and here it will be menu, and here profile. So I'm gonna write here logo container. Let's duplicate this and write here menu container and profile container. Let's choose this first. Let's write before sidebar. Display flex, because all these items are gonna be horizontal. Align item center. Let's give a background color and see first. We can see because we don't have anything inside this container. Logo. I'm gonna say flex 1. Let's copy this and paste twice. Menu container and profile container. Let's fill inside this. As you can see, I'm gonna make this bigger. Let's see like that. We can't see the logo because it's under this sidebar. So this container will start from here. I should give some padding or margin. I will come here and say padding 50 pixels. And top and bottom should be 0, of course. Something like that. But as you can see, our height is not 100%. I will say this and okay. So let's fix this flex problem. Our container will contain place something like that. And menu will be bigger and profile something like that. So our menu container will be 6, which means 6 times bigger than this logo container. And this profile container, let's say 3 or 2. Let's change these background colors also. Make this something like that, and here let's say green. As you can see, it's flex 1, flex 6 and flex 2. Okay, let's create a logo. I will come here and say h1 and class name will be logo, and inside I'm gonna write here flex. It's gonna be our brand. I don't know why flex, but it looks good. It just came in my mind. Let's write under this logo container logo, and this logo will be what was our second font family. It was San. Let's copy this and paste here. and it looks really nice. So all these items inside the navbar will be white. So I'm gonna go to navbar container or navbar, doesn't matter, and say color white. Good. So I can delete this all background colors, I think. Something like that. I will change this logo font size 30 pixels, and color will be something like green. Let's change this. F00, this one. Perfect. So let's create some menu here. Inside menu container, I'm gonna create a list. Menu list. And inside this, I'm gonna create some list items. Class name, menu list item. So I will write here home. Let's say movies. Series. Popular, and here let's say trends. It's enough, I think. Let's delete this. Okay. As you can see, it's vertical. Let's arrange this. What was our list? Let's go to under menu container and say menu list and display flex. It's horizontal now. Let's get rid of these dots. I will say list style, and it's gonna be none. Perfect. So I wanna give some margin between these all items. Menu list items. And margin right, let's say 30. Okay, it looks good. I can make this bold so it can be our active link. I will come here and say active. And here let's say font weight bold. Oops. It should be next to this. Okay. Cool. Maybe I can do all of these items here, same font family. So I will choose this and paste inside Navbar. Okay, it looks better. So let's do this profile thing. I will come here and say first image. It's gonna be our user profile picture, class profile picture. And it's gonna be our folder and user, what was name, profile, okay. And we have a handsome guy here. It's really big and his lips is yellow. I don't know why. Okay, let's change this size. After menu container, profile container, I'm gonna say with 32 pixels and height 32 pixels, and I'm gonna make this circle border radius 50%. Perfect. I will zoom this and it looks a little bit weird. So I'm gonna change this object fit. It's gonna be cover. Right now it contains all this circle. Good. So after this, I'm gonna create a div. It's gonna contain our profile text and some icon here. Profile container. That's a text container. We already have this. And inside this, it's gonna be a span profile and class name profile text. And next to it, it's gonna be an icon. So I'm gonna come here and write font awesome. It's the world's most popular and easiest use icon set. So you can find any icons here. Let's say here arrow. Of course, I'm gonna search for free. We are really poor. And this one is perfect. I'm gonna choose this and paste underneath this profile text. If I do that, we can't see anything because we don't have this font awesome style CSS. We should add this. We can download this CSS and add our file, or you can write here font awesome CDN and you can use from the library. Let's choose this, copy URL. Of course, you should say link. Oops, link. Right now we can see our icon here. As you can see, they are vertically. Let's make this Flexbox. Profile container, Flexbox. And align item center. Good. I wanna give some margin here, but I'm only give for profile. So it's gonna be margin from left and right. Profile text container and margin 0 from top and bottom and maybe 20 from left and right. Good. And right now I'm gonna create some dark mode toggle here. Let's create a div toggle. Toggle. And let's say with 40 pixels and height 20 pixels and background color white. Let's give some border radius 30 pixels. Okay. I will take care of this later, but first I'm gonna shift this to right. Let's see first. If I say background color violet, as you can see, it's on the left. I'm gonna move this to right. So I will say here, justify content, flags and perfect. I can delete this. Okay, so far so good. So let's create something inside this toggle. I will go to font awesome and write here moon. This one. Let's copy this and paste here. And let's add sun. This one is good. This one, and I'm gonna add here toggle ball. Let's see. I'm gonna give some class for these icons. toggle icon and toggle icon. Let's say color gold or goldenrod. Okay. So I'm gonna arrange these positions. I'm gonna come here and say display flex and justify content space between or space around. Let's center them vertically, also align items center. Oops. Center. Perfect. Let's try to space between, maybe it's better. No, around is good. So I'm gonna add this toggle ball here, or here. What was the name? Toggle ball. So I'm gonna say with 18 pixels, because our height is 20, it's gonna be a little bit smaller and we can see top and bottom spaces. And height will be the same. And background color black. It's here right now. I will shift this here. And I'm gonna say position absolute. So I'm gonna align this to right. To do that, I'm gonna say right 1 pixels. If I do that, it's gonna go here because we didn't give position relative to parent. Position relative. Awesome. Let's make this circle also. Border radius 50%. Good. So after that, when I click this, it's gonna be here. Let's make this cursor pointer. Awesome. So I'm gonna give some icons for this left menu also. Let's come here and search for some icons. This one. Let's copy this and paste here. And some others, maybe search. Let's write this before home. I will say users. Which one? Let's make this free. This or this. Okay, this one. Let's copy this and paste. What's more, I can write here bookmarks. And TV. Maybe we can add some hourglass. This one is good. Oops. And last one will be shopping cart. This one is perfect. Let's check. We can't check because their color are black. So I will come here and choose all of these and give some class here. Let's say left menu icon. I'm gonna choose one of them and come here. Or sidebar we can say, or it doesn't matter. We will not use this that much. Let's say color white. Right now we can see them. So what I wanted to do is make them here, something like that. So I'm gonna come here and say display flags, flags direction, column. Right now they are vertical. And this sidebar, I'm gonna give some padding here, so it's gonna start from somewhere here. It was 50 pixels and let's say 60 pixels. Padding top, 60 pixels. And I'm gonna make them a little bit bigger, let's say 20 pixels. And I'm gonna say align item center and justify content space around. Let's try. It's okay, but it's too much space, I think. So I'm gonna delete this and give spaces here. Margin bottom, let's say 30, maybe 40. Good. It's nice. So let's create a container here. After sidebar, I'm gonna say container, and this container will contain this menu and this content container also. So I'm gonna create one more container here, content container. Let's write here something. As you can see, we can see it because it's beyond this container. So I'm gonna come here and say first container. Let's give some background color. 50, 50, 50. Oops. Hash, okay. Something wrong because we didn't give any height. It starts from here and ends from here. So I'm gonna say height. If I say this, it's gonna overflow here. So I should calculate this navbar also. So I will say here calculate 100 VH minus 50 pixels. Right now it's perfect. So I'm gonna write here color white. As you can see, our text is here. So for content container, I'm gonna give some margin. Left, of course. This sidebar is 50 pixels. So I'm gonna say 50 pixels. So we can see right now clearly. Awesome. Okay, let's create something here which is called featured movies. Featured movies or content. Firstly, I'm gonna give some sizes for this. Let's say height 50 VH and background color for now, let's say tomato and see. Perfect. Let's delete this and come here. I'm gonna give some style inside. It's gonna be a background image. Why I am doing this here? Because I'm gonna make this dynamic. We are gonna use this div in other places so we can change the background image. So background URL, and it's gonna be our image, and something wrong here. Okay, image and featured one. As you can see. So I'm gonna give some linear gradient. Because it's really looks sharp, it's gonna be a linear gradient and it's gonna be same color like here on the bottom. Okay, let's do that. Before this URL, I'm gonna say linear gradient, and here's comma, of course. Let's say to bottom, and let's give the colors. RGBA, it's gonna be black first, and then what was this color? As you remember, it was 50-50-50. Let's write here. As you can see, we have perfect effect here. So inside this featured container, it's gonna be title, and it's gonna be description here, and title will be image, of course. And here's some button. Let's add here first title. Class featured title. And it's gonna be image and featured title 1. Like that. Oh, it's really huge. Django. Have you seen this movie? It's really perfect. I highly recommend this. So let's make this a little bit smaller. Hundred pixels, something like that. So I'm gonna add description. It's gonna be a paragraph. Class featured desk. Let's write here some lorem. And underneath this, it's gonna be button and class name featured button. Watch now, or only watch. Let's see. Okay, let's make them fancier. First, this title we already did. Maybe we can give some paddings, or for this content we can give some paddings. Let's say 50. Okay, it looks good. And it was our title featured description, and width is gonna be 50 pixels, something like that. I will say color gray or light gray. Oops. Nice. So I'm gonna give some margin from here and here. So it's gonna be margin maybe 50 pixels and 0 pixels. Maybe it's too much. Good. Let's arrange this button. Featured button. Background color will be our main logo color, and text color will be white. I'm gonna give some paddings. What's going on? Ah, okay. semicolon here, and paddings from left and right, and top and bottom will be different. Let's say 10 pixels, 20 pixels. Good. I'm gonna give this a border radius, maybe 20 pixels, maybe 10. Nice. So I wanna get rid of this border and outline. So I will say border none, and outline none. I will make this bold. Nice. And we have a typo here, of course. We should change this. Okay, I'm gonna give some lists here. So I will come after, where was our container here? Content container here. Okay. I'm gonna say here, movie list container. And inside this, it's gonna be a title, movie list title. It's gonna be header tag. And inside this, let's say new releases. Okay. And after this, it's gonna be our movie list wrapper. We are gonna need this wrapper because we will use some sliders when we click them. Inside this wrapper, we'll shift to right or left. Okay, inside this, I'm gonna create my main list. Let's create an item. Movie list item. It's gonna be our each movies here, 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 and here. So it's gonna be some image first. Class name. Let's say movie list item image. And source will be image 1.jpg. Oh, it was really unexpected. After this image, let's make this bigger. I'm gonna create some title and description and button again. Let's say span class movie list item and title her. And after that, it's gonna be a paragraph, movie list item desk, lorem, but it can be shorter. Here is enough, I think. And after that, it's gonna be a button. And class name, movie list button. Item button. And watch. And for this container, I'm gonna give some padding here. What was our container? Movie list container. padding 20 pixels. But there's a problem here because our container height was 100%, 100 VH. Let's change this. Container, where are you? Here. I will come here and say minimum height, and it's gonna be work like that. Perfect. I'm gonna make this image smaller. Movie list image, and width will be 270 pixels and height will be 200 pixels. Of course, I forgot again this class name, list item image. It's really hard working without any sass or lass. It's pure CSS and it's really hard to follow these class names. Anyway, let's make this image cover, object, width, and cover. Nice. I'm gonna comment out these titles and descriptions and buttons. I will take care of them later. Let's create more lists. Sorry, list items. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Something like that. I should give display flags. Let's write this before image. Movie list. And I'm gonna give height here. It's gonna be 300 pixels. And of course align item center. Something like that. And for these items, let's say margin right 30, something like that. Awesome. So when I hover this item, I want this image to scale up. So I'm gonna write here again, and it's gonna affect our movie list item image. Oops. It's additional dot. And here also. Okay, and I'm gonna say transform scale 1.2. Something wrong. I didn't use this hover pseudo class. Okay, perfect. But this animation is really sharp. I'm gonna give some transition here. Transition all 1 second and is in out. Of course, it should be for image. Perfect. If you wanna learn more about these transforms and transitions, I have perfect CSS animation course. And you can go to the description below and you can check this. You can understand every animations and you can create awesome animations by yourself. Okay, but I wanna give some margin after hovering. So I'm gonna say here margin and 0 and 30 pixels. Let's check. Right now it's so much better. So I can activate these informations again. I will choose this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So I'm gonna make them position absolute, and all these items are gonna be here. Let's copy them because I will probably forget. Okay, title. I'm gonna say background color 333. Let's give some padding 0, 10 pixels. You can see it here. And font size can be a little bit bigger. Font weight bold. And position will be absolute. If I say here position absolute, I should add position relative for the parent. So I'm gonna go to item and say position relative. And after that, let's give some position for them. Top 10% and left, let's say 50 pixels or 60 pixels. Let's try something like that. Let's say 50. Of course, it's gonna be opacity 0 first, and then we hover, it's gonna be opacity 1, like that. So it's gonna be appear only hovering effect. Let's do the same thing for the description. Of course, let's change this padding 10 pixels, and font size will be 14 pixels. I don't want a bold. Let's check. It's here. Of course, we didn't change this. Okay, I will say here maybe 30%. Something like this. But I wanna give some width because it's overflowing a little bit. It can end here. So I will say width maybe 200. Maybe something like that. Okay, it looks good. So for the movie list item button, I'm gonna add padding, and background color will be again this green color, and text color will be white. You can see here. Let's add border radius 10% or pixels. Get rid of this outline, none, and border none. Okay, I will give cursor pointer, and of course say position absolute, top. Maybe I can give after bottom here and say maybe 10 pixels. Let's try. And left, of course, what was this here? 50 pixels. Let's check. Maybe make this 50. No, too much. 20. something like this. So I'm gonna make them disappeared here, here, and here. Okay, we can see right now. So I'm gonna come here, and for this image I can add here opacity also. When we hover, opacity will be 0.5, like that. And for the other items, movie list title, comma, I will duplicate this, and description and button. So their opacity is 0 right now. When we hover, it's gonna be 1. Let's try. Perfect. Of course, I should give some transition for them also, so it's gonna look nicer. 1 second. All is in, out, or is, doesn't matter. You can play around these animations, of course. I just don't want to make this course too long. So it looks good. Something like that. So after this, I'm gonna add some arrow button here, like this, and when we click this, it's gonna be slide smoothly. So let's add this. Our movie list here, it's gonna be independent from this list. So it's gonna be after this wrapper. So I will choose this, and inside, let's create some icon. Arrow again. Why are you asking all the time? I'm poor, man. And this one. Let's copy this and paste here. Let's see. We can't see, of course. Ah, it's here. Okay. So I should give some class here. Let's say only arrow. Font size will be 220 pixels. Not style size. Something like that. I'm gonna move this here. So I'm gonna say position absolute. And top. As you remember, our movie list is 300 pixels. So it's gonna be, and our font size is 120 pixels. So I can say top 30 pixels. Of course, it's going here because we didn't give position relative for parent. Don't forget, by the way, guys, it's really important if you are using position absolute, the parent should be position relative. We didn't use it. Okay, we can use here. Movie list wrapper. Right now it comes here. Let's see the background color here and what's going on there. Because it's not 300 pixels. Movie list here 300 pixels, and this wrapper is much bigger. So I can control this and say maybe I don't want to calculate this right now, seriously. Something like that is totally enough, I think. I don't want to be that much perfectionist. Okay, let's delete this background color. Okay, and right is gonna be 0. Something like that. Let's give some color for this. Gray. And opacity 0.5. Something like that. Maybe light gray. Let's try. Yeah, it's better, I think. And cursor pointer. Perfect. We will do this all JavaScript stuff later. Let's create more list. Movie list container, I will take this. 2, 3, 4. Nice. You can change these names, of course, but I will not care about this right now. So after to list, I can add something like this. So I'm gonna come here. Where was our featured container? Here. I will copy this, and after to list, here I will paste. Here and okay. So I'm gonna change this. Images and background image. It's gonna be dark. It's a Netflix series and German series. It's really mindfuck series. You should watch it. Anyway, our design is something like that right now. Maybe I can arrange these spaces. It's too much. And it's because of our wrapper, I think. Or this padding, maybe I can say 0. Yeah, it's better right now. So right now, what I'm gonna do is making this slide and this toggle. It's the horrible part for some of you, I know, but don't worry, you will understand everything. Firstly, I'm gonna open this activity bar and I'm gonna create a JavaScript file, app.js. And here in the index, I should define this file. Before body, I'm gonna say script, and inside this source and app.js. Let's check console log. And console, and it works. Okay. So what I need here? I need this icon and I need this list. So I'm gonna come here and say, let's close this. I will define const and let's say arrow and document query selector. And what was our arrow ID? It was just arrow. What I did here, I said choose this document, which means this whole application, and query selector, and choose this class name, and it's gonna be our item. Let's see what I mean by that. Console log. I hate this keyboard, by the way. I'm using laptop keyboard. Let's say arrow and see what's going on there. Inspect console. Oops, it's string, of course. I should write without any code. As you can see, it's our icon here. All these class names, everything inside this icon. So what this query selector means, just choosing any item inside this HTML file. But as you know, we don't have just one arrow. We have this one also, and this one, and this one. So what I should do here, I should say query selector all, and it's gonna choose all these items. So I will say here arrows and arrows. Let's check. Right now, as you can see, we have list here. And inside this list, we have 4 items for each of these arrows. Okay, let's do the same thing for movie list. Movie list. Lists, of course. It's gonna be all again. And movie list. Let's check. As you can see, we have list again, and it contains all of our lists. All of these attributes, all of these styles inside, everything is here. And what I'm gonna do here is use these arrows. When I click this one arrow, I should choose only this item, this arrow and this movie list. So I should write here for each. So I'm gonna write here arrow. So I said arrows, choose all of these arrows, and for each arrow, so I'm gonna use index also, index or just I, and I'm gonna open this function. Let's see what we have here. Oops, something wrong. Console log, of course. As you can see, they are separated right now. It's not node list anymore. So let's see I. As you can see, it's our first item, second, third, and fourth. So what I'm gonna do is write here arrow and say add event listener, and I'm gonna say click. This event listener is gonna work after clicking, and I'm gonna create a function here, arrow function, and here we are gonna write what we want to do after clicking. Let's say console.log you clicked to I plus. So I'm coming and clicking this, you click to 0, click to 1, last one, click to 3, and click to 2. As you can see, we choose all these items. So how we are gonna decide which movie list we are choosing? I'm gonna say here, instead of this movie lists, it's an array, as you know, it's node list. If I say here I, it's gonna show us our element here. We choose only this one, as you can see. So I can use this item. I will come here and say style. I can say everything here. Let's try background color. And equals, let's say, red. Let's typo here, of course. As you can see, when I click, I can change the background color. I can change every item here, every attribute. So I'm gonna say transform, and here translate X, and it's gonna be, let's say, minus 100 pixels. So when I click this, I will close this. When I click, nothing happened because I didn't say pixels. And as you can see, when I click, it moves. But there is something wrong here. It goes beyond to this sidebar, and also we can see other elements here. So it's kinda overflowing. So what I'm gonna do is, I will come here, and for wrapper, I will say overflow hidden. Right now, as you can see, I can't scroll anymore. And when I click this, they're already clicked. I refreshed and clicked this. As you can see, it's not overflowing anymore. Awesome. So as you realized, I'm clicking a couple times, but it's always on the 0 point. So I should calculate something here. So first, after every click, I should find initial position. Let's write here something and talk about this. If I write here movie lists and this item, so I will say something different here. Computed style map. Let's try. Inspect. Console. Again, I forgot this. I'm so distracted today, I think. Okay, we have only size here. What I want to see is seeing transform. So I will say here transform. And right now we can't see anything. It's none because we don't have any transform for this list. If I come here and say transform translate X 0, we didn't move anything. It's just 0. If I refresh this, right now we can see some object here. And inside this object, as you can see, we have X. So I'm gonna come here and say, I'm gonna take only this X. I'm gonna say 0 first element because it's object. And say X and give me this value. As you can see, we have 4 0 here for every items. So I can use this inside this function because we know right now where we are on the x-axis. So I'm gonna come here. Inside this code, I will say backtick here and translate X again. And I'm gonna use this value here. To use that, I'm gonna write here $sign and curly brace. And inside, I'm gonna use this one. Let's see like that. And I'm gonna say minus 270 pixels. Let's see. As you can see, it's moving. We don't have any transition. Let's add this and see. For this one, transition all 1 second is in out. Let's see right now. I will refresh. As you can see, it's going to left. Perfect. But something wrong here. When I click this, it's coming to here. I will refresh and you can compare with second one. I'm clicking and it's coming here. It should start from here. That's because we didn't consider this margin. So I should say here not 270, it should be 300. Refresh again and see perfection. As you can see, I can click this forever. It should be a limit, and after last element, it should be turned back to initial state. So how I'm gonna do this? But before this, I wanna give some border radius here. Border radius, let's say 20 pixels. Okay, it looks better. Nice. So what about this limit? We have 4 images here, 4 items. So how can I calculate my total items? As you can see, we have 5, 6, and 7 items here. How I'm gonna calculate this? Let's write here console.log, and inside I'm gonna say movie list, and this one, and again query selector all, and I'm gonna say image, because this movie list contains images inside it. If I say this, let's check. Image is not defined. I forgot code here, and as you can see, we have a list which contains 7 images inside. So if I say here length, and right now we can reach to this number. So I will use this number. I will say here const item number or item length, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's decide. We have 4 items here. So I should click 1, 2, 3, and after this element, it should be turned back. It's our limit. I can't move anymore. So I have limit for 3. What I'm gonna do is, I will come here and create let click counter. It's gonna be 0 for beginning. So after every click, I will increase this number. When I click 1, it's gonna be 1. When I click again, it's gonna be 2, something like that. So what I'm gonna say here, I'm gonna say if item number minus 4 plus click counter smaller than 0, then do this. If it's not, come here and again transform translate x, and it's gonna be 0. It's gonna turn back to initial state. Of course, it should be bigger. Let's try. 1, 2, 3. As you can see, it's coming back. But it's coming after second element, so it should be not greater, greater, and equals. So let's try again. I will explain this later, don't worry if you didn't understand. 1, 2, 3, and turns back. Perfect. But there's a problem here. If I click again, I'm clicking, it's not moving anymore because our click counter is right now more than 3. So I should come here and say, if I turn back again, translate 0, click counter should be 0 again. Let's try, refresh. 1, 2, 3. I saw all of these items and click again and turns back. And I'm clicking again Perfect. Let's change these items and we can see better. It was not good idea doing this right now, but doesn't matter. 3, 4, 5, 6, and so. Let's see. Oh, okay. They are not JPEG. Okay, so we can see right now better. 1, 2, 3. I saw all of these movies. And again, turns back. And again, I can click. Perfect. So we completed our slider for now, because it works only for full screen. It's not responsive right now, but we will take care of this later. Let's come here and take care of this toggle. I'm gonna create a white theme. It's gonna be white here, here, and these icons and text will be black. So I'm coming to CSS and choose here, let's say container, background color, white. It's gonna be our second theme. I will add here later active, and it's gonna look like this. Let's change these titles. I forgot name again. What was that? Title, but not list, I think. Sorry, not item, I think. So I'm gonna come here and color black. Good. We don't have to change anything there. Okay, let's change this navbar and sidebar. Navbar, background color, white, and text color, black. It didn't work because we chose for navbar container. I will move this here. Okay, it works right now. Maybe I can move this here also. So I can delete this. And for this sidebar, background color white, and for these icons, it was left menu icon, I think, yes. Color will be black. Perfect. What can I change more? I can change this toggle color. I will say toggle and background color will be black. And inside this ball will be white. Toggle ball, background color, white. Awesome. And it's gonna be here, not there. So I'm gonna say transform. I can write here actually left 1 pixel, but if I do that, I can't add any transition because we can't apply any transition for positions. So I should write here transform, translate X. It was 20 pixels, I think. Oh, it should be minus, of course. Right now it works perfectly. I want to give transition because I want to give some animation like this if I don't use this transform. If I use instead transform left, we can't use any animations. Okay, that's all I think. Let's give them active class. It's gonna be active. Let's copy this and paste them. Okay. So I'm gonna choose this toggle ball in JavaScript file. So I'm gonna come here and say const ball and document, again query selector, not all because it's only one class, and this toggle ball. And after I'm gonna choose other classes, container, let's say first items, document, query selector, it's gonna be all, container, movie list title, Navbar container, comma, sidebar, left menu icon, not active, toggle, of course dot here because it's class. Okay, I'm not choosing this because I already choose here. So what I'm gonna do is choosing this ball and add event listener, and our event will be click again, and our function, what I'm gonna do after clicking, I'm gonna add active class for this all items. So items, for each I'm gonna say item, I don't need any index, and for these all items I will say class list and toggle, and I'm gonna add active. Let's check. As you can see, perfect. But this toggle is still black because we didn't give any active class for this. Let's say ball, and again same thing, class list, toggle, and active. Perfect. Let's make this clear. I will say elements, and when I click this, as you can see, they are not active anymore. When I click this class list and toggle adds active class. When I click back, it removes. It's kinda toggling. It's really awesome. So let's give some transition for this. Toggle ball, okay. Transition, 1 second, is and all. Let's try. As you can see, it moves smoothly. Awesome. So we almost finished our project. Our slider works properly. Our design looks good. Our toggle works properly. And there is only one problem, and huge problem. This design is not responsive. As you can see, this icon underneath this profile text. And when I shrink more, they are disappeared, and we should fix them. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come here and say media query and only screen, and I will say max width, it's gonna be 94 pixels. So what I mean by that, I just created media query and look at this screen, and if maximum width is 940, not bigger than this one, do this. I will write here, what's this? I will say menu container. I don't want to see this container anymore, and I will say display none. Let's check. As you can see, it's disappeared right now. If it's bigger than 940 pixels, we can see it again. Perfect. Let's shrink this more. And other things are responsible. We don't have any problem. We have still this arrow here, but there is huge problem here. I can click 1, 2, 3. I saw this third movie. I'm clicking and I can see other 3 movies because we have limit. What was our limit? Let's say here first toggle. Okay. We have limit here because we have counter and we are adding 4, and if it's greater or equal than 0, we can click. But we need more click here. After 3 clicks, we can see only this fourth one. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna show you something first. I'm gonna write here Windows and inner width. Let's check. Console. And I will refresh. And as you can see, it's our inner width. If I shrink this browser, let's make this first bigger, like that. I will refresh, and right now it's smaller. I will shrink more. Right now, 200. So if I divide this by 270, which is our image width, as you can see, we can see this number. It's gonna be our ratio. I'm clicking right now to bigger. Right now it's bigger. So we can see float number here. If I use math library and say math and floor, and this one, let's see again. As you can see, we can see integer right now. Smaller 1 and smaller, it's gonna be 0. So we can use this number. If it's 0, it means we should click here more and our limit should be bigger. So how I'm gonna use this? Firstly, I will choose this one. I will just write here first. I will define this. Let's say ratio. And this one. Actually, I can define this after click. Okay. So instead of this if, I'm gonna come here and say plus 4 minus ratio. Let's check. 1, 2, 3 again. And I'm coming here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I saw last movie and it's going back. Let's make this bigger. So I can see 2 movies here. I'm clicking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I saw last movie and it goes back. So it's responsive right now. Let's check for this also. I saw last movie and goes back. Perfect. So what I did here, I set our item number. It was 7. And I set -4. Let's inside parentheses. And our click number. It was 1. And ratio, if I make this smaller, as you remember, our ratio was 0 here. And I add this parentheses 4 and 0. And it means we have more limit right now. We can click 4 more. So if I click again, it's gonna be 2, 3, 4. And after, if it's equals or greater than 0, we can apply this one. If it's not, this one. If we expand this screen, it was like this. Of course, it's minus here. If I say 1, it means we can click 3 more. If I expand this screen, it's gonna be 2. It means our click number decreased again. Something like that. I hope you understood. It can be really confused for some of you, especially if you don't know anything about JavaScript. But don't worry. If you write your own application, you will understand everything here. Just you should do more practice. So everything works perfectly. So we finished our project. I hope you enjoyed. You can check description below. You can find GitHub repository, and also you can find something surprise for you. It can be something there that you can use. So you can check there. You can also add any footer here and additional features. So that's all for today. If you like it, don't forget to like video and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.